very much.
Thank you. Now moving on to the NCR, in a massive showdown today, about 2,000 shop owners took to the streets in the national capital today, protesting the Delhi Rent Control Act. The tenants alleged that the act favors the landlords who are now evicting them from their own shops. These tenants had previously bought ownership rights to these shops in Delhi's prime commercial locations by paying a pagdi. The tenants' protest comes on the heels of a petition filed by landlords asking that market rents be imposed on these properties. Deepa Rana spoke to the protesting tenants earlier today and sent in this report.
It is about 2,000 tenants who are protesting on the roads of Chandni Chowk in Delhi, protesting against the Delhi Rent Control Act. Now, a month ago, it was the landlords who had gone to Delhi High Court protesting against the Delhi Rent Control Act, saying that the Delhi Rent Control Act is in favor of the tenants and that the tenants are not even paying the basic rent which they should according to the Delhi Rent Control Act, and the landlords are not able to sell or give rent on their properties which is up to market rates. And today it is the tenants who are saying that they have paid pagdi in terms of ownership and bought these shops from these landlords who are going to the Delhi High Court protesting against them, and they are saying that we've been working on these shops for a very, very long time now, and how can we be evicted on terms of bona fide reasons given by the landlords themselves. 2,000 tenants on road in East Delhi, in the East Delhi area of the capital. They are saying that it is certainly a conflict which has started between the landlords and the tenants together, and the government should actually come clear on this and talk about what the Delhi Rent Control Act actually should mean to both the tenants and the landlords together.
Now, Deepa also caught up with a few protesters and asked them about the protest march and their demands. Listen in.
They have actually sold this property to us in the form of pagdi. So they have taken the full amount of the shop. So that means basically we are the owner of the shop, but it was just a small rent receipt because the partial registry was not possible in Delhi Rent Act. That was not allowed to have a partial registry. So that's why to give it उनको individually एक आदमी को सेल करने के लिए उन्होंने छोटी सी माइनर सी रसीद बना ली, 5 रुपए 10 रुपए 50 रुपए 100 रुपए की रसीद बना के इन्होंने एक ओनरशिप राइट हमारे को हैंड ओवर किया था, so that इन्होंने की पैसा हमारे से ले चुके हैं. So they have actually sold the properties to us.
हाउस टैक्स का जो इशू है उसमें एमसीडी ने क्लियर किया है, अगर लैंडलॉर्ड हाउस टैक्स नहीं देता है तो ऑक्यूपायर मींस लैंडलॉर्ड या टेनेंट वो पे कर सकता है. तो कुछ लोग टेनेंट भी जमा करा रहे हैं, वो उसका इससे रेंट से कोई मतलब नहीं है. रेंट कम होने का कारण वो प्रॉपर्टी की पूरी वैल्यू ले चुके हैं. अब वो या तो अपनी लैंडलॉर्डशिप छोड़ दे, अगर उनसे पे नहीं होता है तो इफ दे आर नॉट एबल टू पे द हाउस टैक्स टू गवर्नमेंट, दे कैन रिलिक्विश लैंडलॉर्डशिप टू द टेनेंट.
To give us better perspective on this entire matter, we have Ravi Ahuja, Managing Director, Office Agency India at Cushman & Wakefield, joining us live on the phone line. Ravi, now thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks Now. We've seen a lot of protests over the Rent Control Act of late in Delhi and Mumbai. Would you agree that this law is archaic?
This law is an archaic law, and the law has been there for many decades. And in the form and the nature of the law, when this law had come then, between then and now, the markets and the environment has gone through a very sea change. As a result of that, it is not wrong to say that these laws are not only archaic, but they also need to be relooked at, and given the new business environment that India is in, they need to be remodeled and rechristened, given the needs of both the tenants as well as the landlords.
All right, Ravi, now how do you think this can be solved, keeping in mind the interests of both the landlords and the tenants?
A proposed solution to resolve this can be a portion of the sale amount collected by way of legalizing the pagdi system can be apportioned by a law towards paying transfer charges, which can be used to maintain and keep the building upkeep to proper standards, thus removing away the old dilapidated building, kind of threat or fear. The other solution is probably, cluster development, which if the government, were to announce in particularly very dense, very, sophisticated locations. That's where tenants and landlords can partner with each other for higher FSI and get into redevelopment of these clusters, making way for newer modern buildings to come, and the 50 to 70 to 100-year-old buildings that are dilapidated and in bad condition, which have not been maintained because of the rent act impact, can be addressed. The other quick solution I may want to say is that it is not completely wrong to say that the tenants have untoward rights, and therefore maybe the unit sizes lower than 500 square feet, the government may spare them in the sense that give them the right to continue the tenancy rights and be deemed owners, or rather give them the right to convert into ownership by paying a one-time settlement money with the landlords. But both landlord association and tenant association need to sit and think rather than keep disputing this fact, and resolve this amicably.
All right, now before we let you go, our last question to you, Ravi, is that has any city come up with a solution to this, and also can it be replicated across the country?
I don't think there has been any state or city that has come out with a win-win for both landlords and tenants. A good balance of these, which addresses both the tenant and the landlords, need to be worked out as a win-win situation for both. And once we do that in, let's say, cities like Mumbai and Delhi, where these laws have become very archaic and they need immediate addressal, I think these can become a model for other states to follow.
All right, Ravi, thank you so much for joining us here on Magic Bricks Now. Now, moving on, ahead of Bengaluru's civic body BBMP's budget meet 2016-17, close to 6,000 citizens gave their input